underneath the mango tree. I don't know how the rest of the lyrics go. Hello everyone, I'm Flappy the Geek and no, probably it's the wrong camera. Hey, I'm over here. One second. Hello everyone, Flappy the Geek here and welcome back to a brand new video by the sea. So I'm going to have to talk very loudly in this bit, which is, anyway, it's the summer. It's, you know, sea, sand, we've had record-breaking heat in England. It probably feels like summer. So, what springs to mind when thinking of summery videos to make? What Bond films associated with the summer? That's the kind of content we're getting, folks. But yeah, inspired by Calvin Dyson, who is a great Bond YouTuber, does great Bond videos. He did a video last year of what Bond films are Christmas films. I'm taking that, but with a summary twist of what Bond films do I associate with the summer. So it's just purely my opinion. I'm going to go through some specific films that I think apply, and yeah, let's get into it, and I'll explain my reasons for it, and just let's just get into it. I thought this would just be a fun video to make, nothing serious, just a little bit, you know, easy going. So let's go with the flow, and let's do it. So we're kicking off this little video with the first Bond film, Dr. No, from 1962, 60 years ago. But yeah, this one for me definitely captures that summer feeling, I think, and it's very obvious because of its Caribbean setting, or the Jamaican setting. Sorry, I might have got that mixed up, but yeah, it's set in the Caribbean in Jamaica, and it's there for the majority of the film anyway. So even though that's really the only factor, it's a big factor, and you can like branch off into the different aspects that they explore in Jamaica. You've got the beaches, the sunshine, the trees, you know, like palm trees and, you know, nature and all that stuff. You've got the sea with Ursula Andress coming out of it. You've got, as well as that, there's the kind of city side of Jamaica. In like the opening, there's the streets of Jamaica, which is a bit like quite gritty. But then you've got the stuff in the bar, and the kind of like wooden bars and like where they're having drinks and whatnot. It's very summery feeling in that regard. There's the docks. Bond's got his Crab Key Island gear on, you know, his summer outfit. I mean, you know, it's very summery. So yeah. Now we move to 1965 with when Bond was at the height of his power in the 60s, Thunderball. And it's personally one of my least favourite Bond movies. I'm not a massive fan of Thunderball, but it's a very nice looking film, and that helps with the cinematography and all that, because it's definitely a summery film. In fact, this and another one of the films that we'll get onto in a bit, but these are the two films that I consider the most summery Bond films. That's a bit weird, but it really gets across the summery vibe, this one. I mean, just like with Dr. No, it's set in a tropical location, but this time it's the Bahamas, and you've got these scenes of them walking in the streets of the Bahamas or down at the beach, and it's just like, the cinematography as well, it's so good that it's such a lovely looking film. Everybody's got their summery gear on. I mean, Connery's got his sunglasses, for God's sake, you know, he gets to the point, doesn't he? Then in the dance scene where Fiona gets shot, and it's that dance scene where there's like those bongos and drums, and it's got that summery night feeling, you know, that festival-y kind of party atmosphere that I always associate with the summer, that kind of thing. It just, yeah, again, it screams summer, even though that scene is at night time. And then you have the big focus of this film is the underwater stuff, you know, the technology that they got with the underwater cameras and whatnot. They milk it for what it's worth, but, you know, very watery based sea. They're in the sea a lot, and there's a lot of it because of how long it goes on for some of the scenes. But again, it's so much of this film is dominated by beaches and the sea and water, and it's an absolute summer film. And because, as I said, how nice the cinematography is, it just sticks in your mind that little bit more than, say, Dr. No, which had fairly average cinematography, you know, but this one really looks very crisp, and I love it for that. One of the only things I like about Thunderball, to be honest. Next up on the agenda is 1971's Diamonds Are Forever, which is in a different vein to the previous two that I've talked about. Those two had very tropical locations. This one weirdly feels like the more commercialised angle of summer. Let me explain. So it's predominantly set this film in LA and Las Vegas, which aren't very glamorous locations, but they're very vibrant. You know, there's lots of neon lights and the kind of, you know, I don't know, it gets that kind of summery night kind of vibe when you're out, when you're like a seaside town in England, for example,
and there's all the little like carnival rides and all that stuff. There's like a lot of bright lights, and that's kind of what I think of it as well. And also when they're in the carnival with the different stands and games and activities that they're doing, you know, again, that is something that you see a lot of seaside, like fairground rides and whatnot. That's something you see, especially in England, like in like Blackpool or wherever. You see that a lot, and that's a bit a different angle to summer than the previous two that I mentioned. You also have the Nevada desert when Bond's in the moon buggy, you know, desert, sand, whatnot. And then the end of the film is very based in water. So you've got Blofeld's oil rig, which obviously, oil rigs aren't very summery, but the sea is, you know, a very summery. You associate with that. And then at the end of the film, Bond and Tiffany Case on the cruise ship. So again, it's that kind of almost commercialised angle of summer. You know, lots of people go on cruises in the summer. Lots of people go to like the fairground rides in the summer. It kind of has a different angle of summer, but it's one that I associate with the season personally. Now we're out the Sean Connery era and onto the Roger Moore era with Live and Let Die, his first film. And I actually rewatched this one recently because I fancied rewatching it because it was one that always felt like a summery film to me. Maybe it's because when I first watched it, it was in the summer, but it always has that summery feeling. This film is definitely, for me, one of the most vibrant Bond films ever. The colours really pop, and that's it just in the New York stuff, you know, and in America, you've got the fillet of Soul Bar with the reds, it's very colourful. In fact, a lot of the sets, you know, are very colourful, and the reds of it just really pop in my eyes. And then in the coffin parade, the costumes are very vibrant and colourful, and then you also that's why I associate with summer, you know, very vibrant, colourful clothes that you wear, you know, brighter clothes, and not like black and grey, you wear like colourful stuff. And then obviously a lot of the film is also set in the Caribbean, in the fictional country of San Monique, where, you know, Kanang is the president and whatnot. And again, you know, a Caribbean setting helps with the summery feeling because it's on an island, you know, with the shore and the sea, and there's like the harbour where they're at, and the, you know, Coral Junior's boat and whatnot. And obviously when they're on the island of San Monique, you know, you've got the greenery and the nature, and there's like crocodiles, and there's that really great shot in the film when they're on the boat and there's like shark fins, and it's like, again, you know, these things add to an association with the summer, at least for me anyway. Again, a lot of very vibrant clothes from the characters, and I don't know how much of this is to do with like summer association and how much of it is to do with it being the 1970s. I don't know how much that line can be drawn, but either way, it's one that I always associate with the summer personally. Now we come along to my favourite of the Bond films, 1977's The Spy Who Loved Me, Roger Moore's third outing, and as I've said, it's my favourite Bond film, and this, I think, definitely has the summery in it. It has like wintry elements, obviously there's the skiing bit in the pre-credit scene, that's obviously very wintry, but a lot of the film I do associate with the summer. You know, you've got, again, like Thunderball, a heavy emphasis on water. You know, Stromberg's underwater palace, he wants to create a world under the sea. That's his ultimate villain plan. So a large portion of the story, not the story, the film is to do with water. It revolves around it, and there's a lot of underwater stuff with the tanker stuff, and you know, there's a lot of emphasis on that, and like underwater sea creatures like sharks and whatnot. And then there's also the Lotus underwater chase when it's a submarine and whatnot. In fact, speaking of that Lotus chase, like around it, you know, that's when they go to Italy and they're in that hotel, and you know, it's kind of like that holiday kind of thing. And obviously, when they come out of the water, they're on the beach, and Roger Moore chucks the fish out of the window, which is just genius. And you know, it does have that summery vibe, obviously. And then also in the film earlier on, they are in Egypt, and obviously, you know, the sand, and there's the city and the pyramids, and you know, it's a idyllic summer location, you know, holiday destination and whatnot. So I think Spy Who Loved Me definitely qualifies, even though it's definitely got strong winter elements. Now, this next one, A View to a Kill from 1985, Roger Moore's final Bond film, I can't make as strong of a case for this one as the other ones based on the content of the film purely, but I'll just say what I think. So obviously at the beginning of the film they go to the horse race, which is a kind of, it feels this film is more kind of upper class summer. So obviously they go to the horse race, and that's, you know, Ascot, and then it's more of a summery kind of sport, and it's like a day out for the MI6 gang. And then later on when they go to Paris at Zorin's mansion, there's like an outdoor party and whatnot, and it does have that, again, summery feeling, but that kind of upper class, like, weirdly, it reminds me of like something like Midsummer Murders or something like that, but it's like upper class kind of summer. I don't know, it's weird to describe, but I don't have as strong as of a case for this one. But now we have the one film that made me really want to make this video, Licence to Kill, Timothy Dalton's final Bond film from 1989. This film, to me, screams summer in so many different ways. I mean, it was predominantly this film filmed in America and New Mexico. I don't know if there was anything filmed in the UK aside from maybe the MI6 Brit Little scene in the middle of the film. But yeah, it's predominantly set in America and New Mexico and whatnot, so it's got that kind of summer vibe with the plants and the nature and sun and whatnot. And then obviously there's the harbour and the boats, and that kind of has that summery feeling as well. Like Diamonds Are Forever, you're at an American casino, so it has a more... It's not as glamorous, and it feels more summery. And then also you have the bar fight as well, and that kind of nighttime bar, has that, summer night feeling. I like when they're at the harbour and a lot of the action scenes, and also the cute branch gadgets like the camera and the cigarettes and the toothpaste, like very holiday themed. I mean, Q even says, doesn't he, like everything a man needs for a holiday or something like that. It really gets across that feeling for me. I also think the colour palette as well. You've got a lot of teal, you've got a lot of orange, and obviously white of Sanchez's mansion place, and it really has that soft colour palette that reminds me of the summer and whatnot. And also you've got the end of the film when they're in the sunshine with the big tanker chase and they're across the dunes and the deserts and whatnot. And overall, I think it just screams summer, this film. And it's the one that really made me think, I want to do a video on this. And the ending scene when, Bond and Pam are in the pool and it's nighttime and it's at Sanchez's place, and, the light colour of the pool. And it has that summer night feeling. I can't describe. It's the one that screams summer for me the most. Jumping ahead 13 years, you've got Pierce Brosnan's final Bond film, Die Another Day, which is the only one of his that I would consider a summery film. The other three, I wouldn't really consider. I mean, GoldenEye is close, but I wouldn't consider that one a summer film. But this one, definitely, it's one I definitely associate with the summer. Mainly down to the Cuba sequences. There's a lot of sunshine, Bond's got a tan suit on, he's got flowery shirts, and there's a lot of summer wear there. There's like bars and, outside docks and whatnot. I can't describe it well, but you know what I mean? Those scenes, and obviously Halle Berry comes out of the water like Ursula Andress and Dr. No, and she dives in the water later, and it's just got that summer vibe in that sequence. As I say, location can be quite strong when it comes to association with, a season and whatnot, and it does help in this film sketch. But there are other aspects of it. For example, there's a lot of surfing, like in the pre-credit scene, and the wind surfing bits. And also, weirdly, the Iceland stuff, in Gustav Graves' Ice Palace, apparently that was actually filmed in Cornwall, in the Eden Project in Cornwall in England, and Cornwall is a very popular holiday destination in England, so that's a weird association with it, but that kind of adds to a little bit more. But yeah, next we've got the next film in the franchise, Daniel Craig's first Casino Royale, which for me definitely has that summer movie vibe. I mean, you've got a tropical location, you've got summer wear like sunglasses and flowery shirts, you've got fancy villas and whatnot that Bond is at in the more so in the beginning of the film, and then obviously in the end of the film when obviously Vesper dies. And a lot of the film is set in where is it? It's Vienna, isn't it? I forgot, but you know what I mean. It's it's a tropical location, beaches and the sea, and Dan Craig comes out of the sea, doesn't he? A bit like License to Kill. This film's colour palette is quite soft in a way. Like it's a quite bright film. I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels quite bright. It's not as harsh as some others, but yeah, it's a good one. And also quickly, I'm just going to mention Quantum of Solace because I've just realised that means all the 2000s Bond films are summer movies, but the Quantum of Solace is a bit of a stretch to call it a summer movie. The only reason I would include it here, based on the content of the film, is purely the fact that there's a lot of deserts and dunes and there's hot weather for a lot of it. That's really the only objective reason that I can include it, but I'll talk about that more in a second. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that, and that is where we end off the list in my estimation anyway. So overall, I think there's two major factors that everybody uses in their judgment if you were doing what I'm doing and judging these as summer films. There's two major factors that come into play, even though every person's summer is different. Everybody experiences life in the summer differently, but there's two major factors that I think everybody applies to in their judgment even if it turns out differently. First of all, visual style, whether that be striking cinematography or vibrant colour palette. If it's done well, if the film does it well, it resonates with you a little bit more. It's because if a film can capture your sort of visual experience of summer, for example, like you relate to it more, and there's a stronger association with it. For example, I know I went on holiday not long ago, and certain things that I did, I think of some Bond films in a way because of how striking their imagery was. I kind of relayed that when I was there. So, for example, going in the sea at night reminded me of License to Kill. The beach reminded me of Thunderball, walking along the beach. Driving a friggin' speedboat reminded me of Live and Let Die. That was really cool. I'm so happy I got to do that. I'm so grateful I got to do that. The second factor is nostalgia. This applies to everyone and everyone's opinion. So for me, I got into Bond the summer in 2021 last year. So I have a lot of nostalgia for certain films that I watched for the first time during the summer. So like Live and Let Die, The Spy Who Loved Me, License to Kill, Die Another Day. Even films that I said earlier I didn't have as strong as a case for, like A View to a Kill or Quantum of Solace. I remember vividly watching them in the summer, like Quantum of Solace. I remember that and Casino Royale, I watched them over, like two consecutive days. Casino Royale was on a Thursday in July, and then Quantum of Solace was on the Friday the next day. Even films that I haven't mentioned, like Tomorrow Never Dies or The Living Daylights, they don't really have a summery feel to me, but I have nostalgia for them when I've watched them for the first time in the summer. But that is just my opinion, and I really don't know what the aim for this video was. It was just a little light-hearted summary discussion video, and let me know any of your thoughts on any of this in the comments. And this one is completely subjective. This is completely subjective, as I say. It's all down to your personal taste and experience. I'd like to get some discussion going. So yeah, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, click the bell so you know it's a thing. And it's Clack of the Geek, signing out. Goodbye, everyone.